that you have the best pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC playing Battlegrounds with you. But today is not every day. I am Danielle Riendo. This is Waypoint Radio, episode 110, and I think I got that right, actually.
110 is right.
For once. Joining me, of course, is Austin Walker.
How's it going?
And we have a very, very special guest. We have Demetrious Johnson from the UFC, from streaming. You're at, what, Mighty Mouse? UFC is your Twitch 125, because that is what you fight at. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I've been enjoying my stay here so far.
Oh, I'm so glad. You've got some Old Blue Last.
It's pretty good. It's really good, actually.
Yeah?
We got like 3 kills in Battlegrounds via a very good sniper rifle.
AWM.
It's very fun.
Wasn't that the best gun?
Somebody's
like into that.
I would say best sniper. I mean, you only get
sniper.
15 bullets of it, so that's it. You can't find that ammo anywhere unless it's in a crate. So.
But if you're good, that's 15 kills, right?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I was on my way to you just said to get the other crate. No, I'm playing.
I heard you had some crate music. I know you didn't hear it, but like on the stream.
You'll have to hear it.
Yeah.
It's very well produced by Natalie.
I like that.
Shout out to Natalie.
Really, really good stuff. So I know, Austin, you asked a tiny bit about your sort of history with gaming, but I wanted to ask, maybe I'll frame it like this. So I know a lot of serious athletes are very into games. Either it's like a competitive thing or like a way to blow off steam, or even like, I know a lot of people, if they go to tournaments or things as they're growing up, you know, as they're developing as an athlete, they get really into like Game Boy games or something like that. So what was your like journey of getting so into games and enjoying them so much?
Yeah, for me, you know, I come from a very poor background. My mom, she was a deaf. She raised 3 children underneath one roof. And we didn't have a lot of big things to do, or a lot of things to do for entertainment. So one of them was video games. Right. My sister came to the house when I can't remember how old I was, but she brought the Nintendo and introduced me and my brother to Nintendo, and my mom did as well. And I played Super C with her, and me and her to argue. She goes, "No, next power up is mine. That's the spread balls. That's mine." And I'm like, "Fine, Mom, get it. Go ahead, get it. I'll get the machine gun." Just.
There you go.
So I mean, that was the first introduction, and then you know, Game Boy. When you brought up the original Game Boy, it made me think of the Mario Brother one, and then Batman, where you throw the little thing and you get power ups. You fight Joker, he's jumping. And then it just
it is a great game,
and it just kept on evolving from Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, and then PlayStation, and then Dreamcast,
which we talked about right before we went live.
Yeah, exactly. What happened to We've got a Dreamcast back behind us.
Yeah, that's what made me think of Dreamcast.
I
don't know what happened to Dreamcast.
It was really good, and it just kind of got blown out of the water. And
no. There's something literally happened to the Dreamcast.
They pulled it. Is that happened? Like,
I felt like my modem died. Like I felt like
your physical Dreamcast.
My physical Dreamcast just died. Like I was like,
a shame.
Wake up.
Wake up, buddy.
Wake up.
That's okay.
Wake up. And it just wouldn't wake up. I was like, Power Stone.
That's gone.
Spawn, God of Hand. What am I going to do in my life? And
Phantasy Star Online. There's so many games. Oh, speaking of, we were just talking about Diablo. Phantasy Star Online was like my Diablo before I had a good enough PC to play Diablo 2.
Exactly.
I played Phantasy Star Online. Were you a household that rented games when you were a kid, or did you just?
Yes.
Okay, I saw like a little smile, like, oh man, game rentals.
Yeah, we used to read games. We used to read games with Sega Genesis. I remember Streets of Rage 3. I think. Was 3 with the kangaroo?
3 was the kangaroo.
3 was the kangaroo.
You're an expert in that game. I know, that was like a formative game for you.
I see. But
2 is the best. That's when you had combos. Axel would do his thing. You had skate. You had the chick. You had the wrestle dude. I mean,
it was all over.
All over the place. But I remember renting games, and I can't remember what the name of the game was. It was a cartoon show. They would jump in like armored things, and one guy he had like a cigar, and it was like a yellow thing. We were renting games.
Sounds like Captain Commando, maybe.
Yeah. It was like Captain Commando.
It was only arcade, right?
Yeah, it wasn't arcade. It was never an arcade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't.
But we used to rent games all the time, and
just different because like I also grew up like single mom, broke, and like it was cool to be able to be like, all right, here is $5. Like I do not have new video game money for you, and if that did happen for a birthday or Christmas or whatever, it was like, all right, I'm just going to devour this game. I'm going to become the master.
100%
That's why I know
12 times.
Right, that's why I know Streets of Rage 2 so well. Because it was like, all right, that was my game for the 3 months. I'm going to play through with every character. I'm going to beat on the hardest difficulty or whatever. But when she did have an extra $5 or whatever, we'd go to West Coast Video, we'd go to Blockbuster or whatever, and like come back with a game and just like hope that no one, like sometimes we'd be like, oh, I have a save on this NES game. I hope no one erased it in between me renting it and then coming back for it. Stuff like that. And it's just like, that model is just gone now. But I guess like now it's free games, right? I guess a lot of people play free games on PC or their phone or whatever, but I definitely miss rental stores.
There was something special about that, like actually going and grabbing something off a shelf
looking at the
and being like, you could like look at the packaging and being like, oh, this is gonna be my
It's all wrapped in saran wrap too.
Exactly.
It's like you go to KB Toys, like, oh, I'll get Demon's Crest, please. Again, it's like the known demon fire brand travels to get the demon. Like,
And you read all the instruction manual.
Yep.
Dad yell at me in the car. I'm like, I have to read it. I have to read the instructions.
You get a headache from reading in the car.
You can't read in the car. Don't read in the dark.
You're gonna bring tears to my eyes. You're literally gonna bring tears to my eyes. Nowadays, I remember I think the last game I bought a hard copy of it. You didn't even have a disc or a game in it. You just had a download code on it, and I downloaded the game. I was like, whoa.
Different time.
Way to treat our environment well. What we're gonna do is keep it. There's nothing in it. So
you just put it on a shelf somewhere, like behind something else. It's like, okay, I got a box, I guess. Yeah, box times. Nostalgia. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, did you ever like have a special game that was like, okay, this is the thing I go to relax, like if you're training or if you're like really, I
mean nowadays, back in the day, it was always Super Castlevania, Metroid, Mega Man X. That's hold dear to my heart. That's what got me into Twitch, but that's another
Oh yeah, that's coming up. Don't worry. Yeah.
But nowadays, the game I go to relax is PUBG and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Those are the games you get on. Having 2 kids, a wife, a full-time career to do. I don't got time to. I've been playing a new South Park, the Fractured Butthole. I'm playing it, and I'm like, this is sophisticated. I feel like I'm playing an upgraded version of Mario RPG, and I don't have time to sit here and be like, oh, let me go up here, hit this. I need a reaction game.
Get into it, get out of it.
Sure.
I need not that too, but I need a game that's going to let me react. Like with PUBG, I'm reacting. I'm always thinking on the fly. I'm always thinking about my next move. I'm always trying to focus on one thing and then get it done and then move on to the next thing. To where the Fractured Butthole South Park games, I don't have time for that. Like I don't have time. I need to be stimulated.
Right.
So you just go in and learn every new thing instead of just. Here.
Exactly.
Have it, and you know what to do.
Exactly. Unless there's like an in-game point. Like, with Resident Evil, I've been following that franchise since the very first one. So I played Resident Evil 7, the VR version.
Oh, boy.
Because I'm very fascinated by the series, and I want to know where they're going to go. It's a brand new direction.
Such a big change, right?
Big change. Because 6 was just basically a blockbuster, AAA,
Michael Bay. Yep.
Michael Bay, 100%.
Michael Bay's Resident Evil.
Yeah. So Resident Evil 7. They changed it completely, went back to the roots, and I'm kind of curious, and that's why I played the whole thing, even though it wasn't
Did you like it in VR?
I did. I played the whole game in VR.
You stream it in VR?
I streamed the whole thing in VR.
Man, I have to go watch this video.
Yeah, I need to watch that too.
There's a highlight. There's a highlight where I'm playing. I'm like, I go, the house we used to live into was 2 stories, and you can hear me stream upstairs. And so I'll go and tell the wife, I'm like, babe, I'm about to start streaming. Don't come in there.
Do not.
I'm in VR. I'm in Louisiana, okay? I'm in backcountry Louisiana.
Oh,
don't come in, right?
Are you?
Well, that's what
in the game.
In the game,
I thought you meant for real. I was like,
yeah, right.
Oh man.
She just freaked out.
How could you even live there?
Yeah. So I have the earbuds on. I'm in there, and I'm like, and then I heard somebody come in the door. But I'm like, I didn't know if someone was in there. And Destiny goes, ah, it scares me. I go, what the f? It's like, get out of here now. And everybody loved it. So, amazing game.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Did she get a lot of points with your fans for being
yeah, they loved it. They clipped it, put it on YouTube, Twitter. Everybody watched it and laughed. Everybody loved it.
The thing about that game that's so scary for me is how, like, Resident Evil series has always been at the front of horror for years, but until it was at the bottom of horror, because like horror was going in better, smarter directions in games. But that game, like the opening anyway, like the first half of it when you're in the house, is just, it's so like obviously there are monsters and stuff, so like whatever. But like it's mostly just like a fucked up family in a house in the backwoods.
Yep.
And I've gotten lost in the woods before and been like, this is man, no, I don't know, not like this. You know,
nope,
this is how it's gonna go. Like that's where like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like one of the scariest movies for me, or like any of the what are the Rob Zombie ones that were kind of similar.
Devil's Rejects, and House of a Thousand
We're just like this is a place that's in the world somewhere that's off the beaten path. Someone stumbles into that place and then that's it. They get got and like. That's gonna happen to me. I don't want to. That's way more scary to me than just like a slasher film or like a monster movie. Like I like those. I like all of those. But like that's why the opening Resident Evil 7 definitely
You're not like a teenager about to have sex in a car.
Right.
You're like the guy who could absolutely get
killed in the backwoods.
Murdered.
That's much more true to my experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%. Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. That is. They made a movie about that recently. It was pretty good.
Wait, which what?
Get Out.
Oh, Get Out. Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Well, that was a little different. I mean, she met, she's basically slaving out.
Actually,
Right. That's like the subtext to my fear is exactly that. Absolutely.
Like we're actually bringing you into that instead of just stumbled into.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
Just walking in the woods. Oh my God, I'm about to die.
It's like, well, that's my life, and I'm dead now. Well, speaking of that's my life. I guess I do want to follow that into what got you into streaming. Because streaming is its own world within games, of course, now. And like it is, now, of course, like if you do games journalism, if you do coverage of games, or if obviously you have a following from something else, doing streaming feels like it's like a weirdly natural extension now. I don't know if you find that with your career. But
absolutely 100%. I mean, I got into streaming when I had my first child. You know, when you're walking your kid at bed at night, you got to find something to kill the time because it's like 15 to 20 minutes.
Sure.
And then I don't know who told me, but somebody's like, dude, you know you can watch people play video games on the internet. And I was like, are you kidding me? You must be lying. And he goes, you can watch any game you want. And I was like, huh. And like I said, I was a huge fan of Mega Man X.
Perfect.
So I'm sitting there rocking my son, doing my thing. Next thing you know, I'm like, twitch.tv. And I'm like, let's see if anybody's playing Mega Man X. And sure enough, there's a guy playing Mega Man X. His name's Caleb Hart. Okay. And he does all the speed run in Mega Man X. He's sitting there playing Mega Man X. And then when I was listening, like,
oh, yeah, the best.
And just jumping, doing the scene, I'm like, oh my God. And next thing you know, I'm like, babe, there's this thing called Twitch, and you can watch people play video games, and you can play video games. And she was like, you should do it. It'd be a good way for you to interact with your fans on a different platform.
There you go,
And because when it comes to fighting, I'm like, it's too, like, the way I've been brought up in fighting, I'm just way too technical. And it's very hard for me to have a conversation with people because we'll start arguing. I'm like, why am I arguing over this with you? Like, I just don't understand it. So
especially a fan or something, where like that's not what you're supposed to do.
They have no idea what your day-to-day is actually like.
Exactly. So then it's not like I was like, you know what? She's like, it'd be good for you. Because when it comes to the fan interaction with UFC, I don't like it because it's very fickle. Like, they'll love you because you're winning, you're on top. But when you're losing, you suck. I knew you sucked. I knew you sucked. And so I try to separate it too. But so I started streaming on Twitch because my wife suggested me do it. And I remember my first time I started streaming was Final Fantasy 14, Realm Reborn. And I was on my couch, half naked, in my underwear, just sitting there, playing the game. And everybody's like, dude, you need to get dressed. I'm like, I'm in my house. You ain't gonna tell me what to do. I'm half naked. This is what I walk around in. I wouldn't be naked, but I'm on camera. And then next thing you know, 2 people started coming, 4, 18, 25, 30. And then Twitch reached out to me and said, hey, are you serious about this? I'm like, well, I've always played video games. I loved it. So they got me on the PC master race. I always hated PC because
now you're on it though.
Now you're doing it.
I would never go back. I mean, I'll go back for the exclusives, but you know, you buy PC, you spend $3 grand on a PC. Back in the day, you have the Radeon 960 HD. 2 weeks later, they got the NVIDIA 810 out. So I didn't like the fact you always have to switch out your components. But now I'm more familiar with the process of it. And now I'm all about Origin PC, which is my sponsor. If you're going to shop PC, OriginPC.com.
There it is.
There it is.
So, yeah.
So speaking of a break, actually, we should probably take a quick one.
Oh, yeah. Quick commercial break. Hopefully the ad is actually...
We'll see if it's in there or not.
My bad.
No, not your bad at all.
It's reminded us to do that. So
we'll be... A little reminder.
We'll be right back.
All right, so I want to pivot a little. Just a small pivot. Really tiny pivot. So I mean, not anywhere near your godlike level. I train MMA for fun, just for fun. And I always have this thing with, I would love to find a game that like, just in any way, really kind of recreates the experience or the intensity of fighting another human being. And like actually being like in that space with another person. I'm wondering if you've found anything that like clicks on any of the levels where fighting actually does.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of games, a lot of fighting games. One of them, obviously, the new UFC game that's coming out, UFC 3, February 22. That's coming out. That's pretty close, comparable. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is because it's always about distance, putting yourself in a neutral position, depending on what character you have, depending on what their lineup is, how you're gonna put yourself in there, or if you're fighting, depending on what their loadout is. When by loadout, their Infinity Stone choice, whether it's soul, reality, space, time. You have to make sure if they have a soul, a life stone, I think it's soul stone. And if you're fighting the person and you kill that first character, you got to activate your soul stone. That way he can't bring his other character to life because you can't activate two. So
thinking about what they're going to do and trying to counter it. Next moves.
Exactly. So that's how it comes into fighting. I mean, I would say even PUBG, because you always got to look out, the distance, how far the person is, how can you get behind them without them knowing, hearing footsteps. So it's all about reaction. That's the biggest thing I'll say. With PUBG, it's about reaction. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, it's about the strategy, the game planning, the loadout, and knowing what that person is capable of, just like in a fight. And I'll say UFC 3, it's you're basically fighting all the time.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's really good to hear, too, that, like, the game actually recreates on some level. Obviously, it's not the same thing. But on some level, there's, like, some elements there.
I can say it to you guys are video game players. You guys play video games. You guys aren't, you know, the original public where it's like, oh, but yeah. But I can be like, you know, I can be like PUBG. You guys are like, yeah.
Of course, I can see the distancing, the strategy, all that
strategy.
stuff.
You guys have experienced that to where the 99.9% of the public probably hasn't played PUBG.
Right.
Sadly.
What's funny is, like, even something like Mega Man X, or even like the original Mega Man games, you think about those boss fights.
Yep.
Like, already it's about like figuring out what are they going to do, how do I keep my spacing right, stuff like that. Though also, you told me while we were playing PUBG that your mains in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite are now what, it's Sigma and Ultron?
Yep.
First of all, you're using the boss guy. You're using the bad guys.
I'm basically using Ultron Sigma.
Right, exactly. 2, Mega Man X isn't in there. You just said you got into streaming for Mega Man X. How come Mega Man X isn't your go-to?
So this is funny. So I have a roster. Okay, when I first started out, it was Dormammu and Ultron.
Okay.
Then I started playing with Dormammu. Then I switched out Ultron for Mega Man X.
Okay.
I gave Mega Man X.
You gave him a shot.
I gave X a chance. Okay. You know, but he wasn't up to par.
I want to make sure
he wasn't up to mighty level.
Okay. Wow.
But then they released the new DLC characters, Ultron. Not Ultron, excuse me. Sigma, Monster Hunter, and Black Panther.
Yeah.
Black Panther, huge fan of him. First African American,
of course.
you know, superhero kind of nowadays.
Yep.
After so I gave him a chance, he wasn't up to speed.
Wow.
And so I gave Sigma a chance, and Sigma was just all about it. So I had Sigma Dormammu. I'm like, okay, I got 2 slow characters. I need to switch them out. I've always been a fan of Ultron, and so I switched out Ultron, and then the dynamic between both of them and how good I am with those guys is good. I am not able to ladder with Ultron yet, but I haven't really put time.
That's it.
It's a grind, you know. I remember when I was playing Tekken 7, they introduced Akuma. Akuma brought his DAFC to where you can throw uppercut and then dash. And it took me a long time to get, but once I got it, whew, felt good.
It's in there. So do you find at all that like you're playing totally different types of styles in a fighting game than you do like actually fighting? Like a bigger, slower fighter versus a smaller fighter, faster fighter? Or do, like I'm just wondering, like 100%. Psychologically, like is it just more interesting to you to do it differently, like in the video game world, or?
Yeah, 100%. Like cool. I mean, and I've been upfront about this. You know, with the UFC 3, I don't enjoy playing the game. Like I enjoy playing the game. I think it's a fantastic game. It's very optimized. It's a very great game. But if I had a choice, if I was going to die in a black hole for the rest of my life, I'm going to play Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite instead of UFC 3.
Sure.
Faster.
It's just faster. It's just you're not. Every single character has their own moveset. Every character moves totally different. So with that game, you're basically you're reskinning everybody, and you're making this character faster than another person. Where Ultron has laser beams. He moves faster than Sigma.
Wait a second. Wait. There's no laser beam? You don't have any laser beams?
I have no laser beams in UFC.
I thought maybe you just had them in the back pocket. You just hadn't had reason to bring them out yet.
I talked to the creative producer, but he wanted nothing to do with it. And he goes, we haven't seen it yet. And I'm like,
we haven't seen it.
That's because you've been saving it just in case.
Yeah,
exactly. Your 12th defense, you're going to bring out the laser beam in real life.
Yeah,
and fans would get mad at me. Like, I can't be able to play UFC. I was like, guys, I do this every day in the gym. Like, I don't need to have a controller to do that stuff. If I want to kick somebody in the head, I'll drive an hour away and kick somebody in the head. Legitimately, I'll kick the guy in the head.
And then you go to the gym and kick someone in the head there too. That'll be.
And then I get to the gym and I go Hadouken.
It doesn't work. Doesn't quite.
No, good. Then I go back home. I'm like Hadouken. I'm like perfect. Got it.
Different worlds.
Different worlds.
A little bit. I mean, just a little different.
Just a little bit different. Yeah. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. Well, that tracks. That makes sense to me. So I'm going to ask about fans now.
Yeah, of course.
Because this is a fun question, right? Yeah. So, like, basically, in my experience, a lot of athletes and, like, MMA people, they're into video games. They like video games. They're maybe not necessarily the same kind of games that I play, but, like, people, like, know kind of what's out and what's going on. But it's not the other way around. In my experience, a lot of video game fans do not watch MMA. They don't know what it is. They don't know what UFC stands for. They don't know what that is. And I'm wondering, is there anything we can do to get more like video game people into MMA and how cool MMA actually is?
Well, the biggest thing.
Or should we?
I mean, it's up to them. I think it's always good to introduce them to it. Like I've been introduced to Twitch, I thought it was a good thing. But at the end of the day, I think video game population and the minority of video games is a totally different spectrum. I mean, there's so many different things in video games. Like you either like first-person shooters, you either like RPGs, you like RTSs. You have a wide variety of things you can watch and enjoy. To a mixed martial arts, it's just fighting. You just have two people fighting each other and that's it. Granted, in mixed martial arts, you have wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, boxing. But at the end of the day, you're starting to see a big mold that that's what everybody is doing. Like everyone wants to be good at everything. To where a video game was like, my bread and butter is fighting game and
shooters, basically.
And shooters, you know. I mean, RPG, there's a strategy to it, but not really, because it's basically rinse and repeat. You died, okay, I'm gonna go back and level up, come back and beat you. To where those games, you have to, it's all about your reaction. Does it get better?
I got to get you playing Dark Souls. You got.
I beat Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Bloodborne.
Good.
So, I mean,
so you like those?
And I love them.
Because those are also that. You know what it was? Like Bloodborne was the last time that I actually thought about an action game that felt like what watching MMA or playing a fighting game even like where it was like it's all about spacing and timing and thinking about what your opponent's about to do.
And learning. And I think the one thing that's kind of hard, not hard, but kind of repetitive about Bloodborne and even Dark Souls is that you learn the pattern of the boss.
Right.
So the boss will like,
and not reacting to you back.
Exactly. Then I'll walk back to like,
yes.
Then they'll do
it's
it.
like, here's my giant glowing spot almost,
exactly.
right? Like,
but amazing game. And I think the only thing that, my personal opinion, that Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 was missing, just more dialect. Okay?
You want that story?
The story. At the beginning of the game, of Dark Souls 1, hey, you must be new here. If you ring one of the bells, something will happen. You read him again? Oh, still you. You haven't read the bell, have you?
I'm going to get on the phone with From Software and get you a part in the next. Let's see what we can do.
You should be in it.
Well, the unfortunate thing is they canceled it. Like, they said 3 is the last one.
Oh, they said no more.
Right.
Yeah, I talked to Bandai, and they're like, 3 is the last one. I was like, are you sure?
I think that for me, it's a cool thing because it's like I want the team that made that to go make something else.
Oh, 100%.
That's like the thing. It's like they figured out how to do that one.
Yeah.
Take the learning from that and go off and
they
do
not that
else.
they learned how to do it, they've mastered
Right.
it. They've mastered
exactly.
it. 3 games that have been successfully sold, mastered it.
Right. I mean,
you should get on the phone. You should be like Mighty Soul. Let me pitch you.
Mighty
Soul.
Mighty Soul is an alright game.
I like that idea.
Well, I guess building off that, like, so right now you are an incredible UFC fighter, an MMA fighter. You obviously have the streaming thing going on. What happens when you feel like I've mastered this stuff? What's
mastered
next?
What? Gaming or?
UFC, fighting, basically. Well, when you're like, I've got it, I'm done. What's your next step? What do you go on to do?
It's video game streaming. Obviously, I would love to get a casting in a video game via voiceover or help produce a game. Obviously, I just had my first casting call. I cast one of the qualifiers at H1Z1 in Invitation on Daybreak.
Nice.
So I would love to do that as well. Cool. But just being involved in the video game world. Video games brings out a different type of I'm just passionate about it. It brings out a different person in me. And it's always evolving, it's always evolving. Right now, I think the industry is struggling to find the next multiplayer. Right. That's good for streaming. That's the hardest thing as I, become a streamer is that you don't start playing games for your own entertainment. I mean, I do get entertainment out of PUBG and Marvel's Capcom Infinite, but for me to sit down and play a game like I did with Super Metroid, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Even though they came out with Wolfenstein, I didn't play that at all because I don't have 2 to 3 hours. I do
to sit down
but I want to laugh. I want to game. I want to run somebody over.
And it's a different experience. Like picking a game to stream. We have this discussion a lot. We're like, what are we going to stream today? It's like, well, we could play this, but like that game is a game I want to enjoy for me on my own time when I'm not trying to make jokes or when I'm not trying to like keep the chat engaged.
Exactly.
Which is different than like a game that's like going to be good. We played Stick Fight, Super Stick Fight or something like that.
It's
like cheap, like $3 game. Seriously, on Steam, where it's just like it's like those old Flash animations of stick people fighting each other. It was like the best time in the world. Like it's a game I probably wouldn't play off stream, but on stream it's just like constant laughter, constant jokes, and like it's interesting to see how Twitch and streaming in general have helped certain types of games find new audiences. Because like they're built to be streamed. Yeah,
and I think at the end of the day, it's helping the producers put out something that everybody wants to play. Because at the end of the day, it's about entertainment. And for me, that's one of the things I always told myself to stay true to myself when I come to streaming. Like Final Fantasy XIV, Where Reborn, and Heaven's Word, and Stormblood, I beat all 3 of them. And it's one of the games I just love to play.
Right.
But then again, like I'm sitting there and I'm streaming, I'm like, I'm actually not being stimulated when I'm playing this game.
To people.
I'm not talking to people. I'm just not engaging them. So I think, when I get back home, brand new year, 2018, when I go back in the stream, I'm like, okay, guys, I'm going to start. I'm just waiting for the next game. I'm still waiting for Capcom to come out Resident Evil 2 HD. Because when I played Resident Evil 7, I couldn't even read chat.
Right.
You're
in VR.
I'm in VR. So I played 18 hours. No, what was it? God, no. I played it was 9 hours of VR, not talking to stream. And I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna take breaks to give my eyes a break, and I'll answer you guys. But please enjoy the gameplay. Like I'm enjoying it, and I hope you like it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing what got me into streaming. Well, I think I'm successful in streaming is that I don't need the money from streaming because I have a successful career in fighting. But it just helps build, and then now everything's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds a little bit like the dream there. Like you're getting to combine your hobbies a little bit.
Hopefully one day when I'm done fighting, I'm like, bye UFC, don't need you guys anymore, appreciate you. And then I'm like, we're at like, MSG. We're like, we have Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, would you ever get into like esports broadcasting?
Oh yeah,
esports?
that's my next goal. I just love video games, like I said, and like casting the H1Z1 Daybreak, it was nice. You all like, oh, there looks like Flame Hopper, he's going there. Those are grenade, he gets out and they're exchanging. The AR-15 gets, he wins with a headshot. I just love that because it's just basically commentating what's going on in the game, and I just truly love it.
Cool.
Yeah, do you think like streaming is getting you ready for that?
Yeah,
because you're already kind of doing that, right?
Yeah, 100%. Sometimes I'll do custom games on PUBG, then I'll cast call it. Like after I lose, and I have the ability to go to different characters and call it, and so it's getting ready. I practice it for my next career, and you have to do that. You have to do it in any sport, football, basketball, wrestling, anything.
I can't wait to see more people do that stuff with PUBG because a friend of the site, Jeff Grubb, who works for VentureBeat, GamesBeat, another website that writes about games, every weekend does like a big like family dinner, like get as many people in the games industry together as possible to do huge games. Sometimes it's just like we'll do a zombie mode or do whatever in PUBG.
Absolutely.
But the one that we did once was like 50 on 50, and it was unbelievable, man. I'll link you to the video of it because he didn't play, he just cast it, and like it was so cool to see him figure out where to go and zoom in and like tell the different stories that were happening on the stream of like, well, the best part was like there was a team of like 2 or 3 people who were in a car or a bike. And what they did real smart is at the very beginning of the game, they got in their car, they go to the other side of the map where the other side of the players were all landing, and then killed all the cars. They shot all the tires out of the cars, which meant that it gave our side the time to get further into the map and like get into defensive positions.
And then everyone
else had to walk down like the hill. It was like, all right, we're just sniping them off.
Yeah.
It was wild. Obviously, you can't do 50 on 50, but what it was,
have to have
it was like what we did was shirts versus skins, basically. Like if one side was like everybody wore a jacket, the other side no one wore any clothes, and it was like, all right, if you see somebody who's not wearing clothes,
shoot them.
That's how you know.
Well, at the end of the day, you have to get 100 people all on the same page, like 50 versus 50, shirts versus skins.
It was very difficult, but it was good.
You have one dude who's like,
yeah, all it would take was one person to like screw it up, right? Yeah, but it was good. It was
shooting everyone knows like, ban him now.
Yeah, exactly.
That wild card, just ruin it for everybody. But, seems like PUBG has that element to it. Sometimes people want to do that.
Exactly. I think next time I get home, people are gonna tell me to try it, so I think I need to try one day.
You should figure it out. See if you can. You have a nice sized community, people who respect you and like who don't want to like be that jerk on stream, so also you'll see them do it, and you'll get to drag them on stream if they try to do that.
I want to play too. So, but I'll probably be the first person to die. I'll just be able to watch. So be good. Work out perfect.
Good.
Yeah, that works. I was gonna ask about fans in general. Yeah. If you prefer UFC fans or video game fans.
I prefer both.
Okay. I mean, cool. That's a very good answer.
Yeah.
Diplomatic.
Yeah,
no, I'm gonna keep it straight. I try to tell people I'm probably one of the most realist dudes. Like I was literally in front of the H1Z1, the owners, not Arklager and Raquel, the PR people, the owners, and they looked at me like, what are we doing wrong? And I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I mean, PUBG's taking off. I was like, you want me to be 100% honest with you? He was there, I was like, your fucking shooting sucks. I was like, if I put the crosshair on you, you should die.
Right.
I've tried AR-15. I own 2 guns. I know how shooting works, okay? Right. And I told him straight up. So when it comes to the fans, when it comes to UFC fans, they're very passionate. They're very passionate about the sport of mixed martial arts. But at the end of the day, they don't think about the athlete. They just want what they want. At the end of the day, the biggest thing top right now in mixed martial arts is me going up to 135 to fight for the other belt. I will do that. Just let me make the money I want.
Right.
So if the UFC would pay me what I want, then I'll make I have no problem.
Make the jump.
I'll make the jump.
Yeah. You're a professional.
At the end of the day, I want to retire. I want to be able to do what I love. I want my kids to never have to worry about going to college. I never want to go back to work. I shouldn't have been a champion for 5 years. I shouldn't have to go work at Costco after I'm done fighting.
Yeah. Right.
Then what is the point of me being a champion for 5 years?
Especially because you're putting your body on the line.
Absolutely.
At any point, you could take a career-ending injury. Like you're really, even before being in the ring, right? Like during training, people get hurt in big bad ways.
Absolutely. ACL, TLs, LCL, anything. So that's one thing that I have a problem with the MMA fans is that they just want what from you. With the video game fans, I 100% I have nothing negative to say about the video game fans because we're all passionate about producers, creators, different.
I will say there's a little bit of it in that, like, so like one of the things, I don't know if you know this, is in gaming, there is, there's real problems in terms of game production when it comes to crunch time. When it's like in the final stages of a game for months, you might have people who work 70, 80-hour weeks and who often aren't compensated fairly because of that. And more and more, players and fans are like, hey, we should treat people more fairly than that, figure out ways to do it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, but it is a little bit of the same thing of like, when it comes down to a fan, a lot of fans are like, all I want is the game. You know, like all I want is the game. Or like there was just sexual harassment charges against or not charges, allegations against Naughty Dog, against a high-ranking or a lead at Naughty Dog from a former employee. And some of the response to that was good, which was like, hey, you should get to the bottom of this. Hey, you better like treat this sincerely. But there were people who were like, I don't care about that. Just give me The Last of Us 2.
Right.
And it's like, oh, like I want that other type of fan who cares about the people who make the games, who really wants people to be
good.
Be good people.
You just created a masterpiece. So you guys created Dark Souls, the whole entire trilogy. Yeah. Everybody should never have to make a game ever again in their life. 100% agree with that.
That's all.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of it, but also it's different because you're not getting in the ring and getting punched in the face.
Right. Exactly. And I've never experienced that side of the video game
fandom,
public.
Right.
The fandom to where for me it's like, hey, you like video games, I like video games.
Yes.
We're
cool.
We celebrate that together.
We celebrate that together. But for me, if I was developing a game, I'm like, hey, dude, my son has stage 3 cancer. I'm not gonna be able to finish, Dark Souls 4. I don't give a who the hell? I didn't know you had a kid.
Right. Exactly.
Get back in the studio and make that game.
Right. Why is poise broken this time or whatever?
Right. It's all your fault.
I don't want.
It's not everybody, but it is a thing I wanted
to mention. Vocal minority.
I think you find that in a lot of anywhere where there is a risky job of any kind, whether it's in sports, whether that's in whatever you do. Like truck drivers die more than anybody else in America, but like we don't really talk about that ever, really. You know. But I just wish we all cared a little bit more about the people who do the cool things that we love in the world.
Yes,
that's my very cheesy moment here.
That's a good.
I want a little rainbow.
Yeah,
right
I want the
Please don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. That's my rainbow. Finally, I know.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Be kind to others.
That's it. Be good or be good at it, right?
Yeah,
and be good at it.
And be good at it.
All right, so sorry, I didn't mean to interject into this interview.
I mean, like that's a beautiful. I mean,
that was a beautiful piece.
I feel like that was. I got a little tear going.
Do my best.
One single tear. That was very, very beautiful. I guess I had kind of one last general question. And it had to do with esports, and a fan actually tweeted us. It was wondering, like, GSP has invested in an esports team.
What team?
And they're wondering if you would ever consider going into esports to that degree, like investing in a team or looking at it from that more like high level perspective. Sounds like you're obviously into the casting perspective.
Well, yeah, obviously first and most is the casting perspective.
Yeah.
I think me and GSP are on 2 different pay scales. I think he's on a higher pay scale than I am.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
if I was on his pay scale, absolutely. We have 4 dedicated guys that want to do well in PUBG. They're going to start playing in online tournaments.
Nice.
And I told them, I was like, I fully heartily support you guys. So if you guys make it to that next level, then they say we want to rep the Mighty Boys, Mighty Squad. So I said that's awesome. But I've talked to WME, IMG, and asked him about should I invest in an esports team. So I own a team. He goes, let me tell you 10 reasons why you shouldn't own an esports team. And so I took their advice very well. And I have had ties, and I've worked with Northern Gaming, which is an esports team based out of Toronto. But at the end of the day, you hear stories about they're not paying them athletes and all that stuff.
Again, same thing, right?
Same thing. Labor issues.
People say, I just want wins.
It's kind of hard, right? So if I have, I know we're crunching time, but I'm going to break this down. So if I had an esports team, and the games I want them to be good at is PUBG. So I go out and I buy the best PUBG players, Nade Shot, Jumpman, whoever, four top
great,
guys, right? And let's say their monthly salary is $2,000 a month, and so 2 times 12, that's 20, so $24,000 a month, $25,000 a year, so times 4, was that 24? That's 48.
$100,000.
It's like 100. So about 90 grand, a year. So you pay 90 grand a year. They don't win a tournament. They don't win one single tournament. Right. You don't make your investment until a team like Madison Square Garden just purchased CLG for $10 million.
Right.
Then you make your
investment. That's when your investment.
That's when you make your investment. But I'd rather put $90,000 in an investment in a stock market.
Right, which you'll get something back. Even a very conservative stock market.
5% back is way better than zero.
So, and that's on top of the fact that also you would want to do it right so that you're treating the players well.
Exactly.
And you want to make sure that they feel like they're eating fine and they have access to medical insurance and all that, which costs more and more.
Yeah, exactly. So if I got in a position where I can be the spokesperson of the esports team and be the brand ambassador to where it's like, hey, Demetrious, we're going to give you $10 million. No, we just want you to be part of the esports team. We even want you to make sure they're in good shape and they're getting the workouts in and you're feeding them right. And we're going to give you a salary, a monthly salary of $4,000, and you can still stream and all your stuff on your side. 100%.
There you are. So esports teams, listen.
There you go.
You want your esports athletes to have abs, chest, deltoids, biceps. Holler at your boy.
I
think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, I bet they'd be better players.
Yeah, I agree, and that's the thing too. Like I watched the All Game and No Play on Netflix's series, and just watching like the Cloud9 TSM do their thing, just sitting there for 8 hours, just playing games. Like, dude, you guys need to get out there and socialize. You guys need to get out there and work out, get the blood pumping, because you guys are all. I mean, yeah, they just need to work out. I was going to go.
It's healthy. They do have to work out.
You have to work out. So
some of the teams are doing that now, right? Some of the teams are making sure that like they are getting exercise and
nutritional
they're like
value.
Of course. They have like on-team nutritionists to make sure that they're eating right, and not just ordering food.
They're going to last longer as esports athletes if they're doing those things.
Keep their mind sharp.
Part of the thing is that like the thing that is interesting to me when it comes to esports and MMA is that esports is a fairly new development, right? Esports is a thing. It's had some stuff that's been running for a decade or more, right? But like when we think about the word esports, when we think about the big money investment, when we think about major teams that get purchased by major corporations, that's fairly new. And MMA, again, martial arts, combat sports are old, but in terms of like blowing up, MMA has been in the last 20 years, at least in North America. And I think it's interesting to see how both of those groups are struggling and learning about how to make sure that the athletes are treated well and are compensated fairly and are able to be protected. But also, it's interesting to see like how corporations are like, all right, how do we get the most out of this? How do we push them as far as we can? How do I get the biggest slice of the pie? Exactly.
Well, at the end of the day, when you look at CLG being purchased by MSG for $10 million, the only reason that happened, from my understanding, from the info I was given, is that they had League of Legends tournament there 2 days in a row, and it sold out every single day. This is the second time the UFC's been back to MSG, and the first time it sold out, the second time it didn't sell out. And this is from a year apart. So you have an event, 2 days, back-to-back, video games, selling out.
One of the biggest places in the world, or one of the most the best histories, prestigious.
Like,
exactly.
And the game that sold out the arena is free.
Right.
100% free. To where that's where I honestly think that there's no other entity out there right now that's going to be able to compete with esports because it's free. It caters to all nationalities: Indian, Mexican, Korean,
Japan.
Asia. When you have people in Asia, you're going to school to be a professional League of Legends player. You're just on a whole other ball.
This is the thing that's like we talked about renting games an hour ago or whatever, and like today we wouldn't be renting games.
No,
we'd be playing League. We'd all be playing League or playing other free games that are just on. That we have like a bad laptop that was handed down to us, but it can still play League. And that's what we would be doing. Like it's such a different environment now compared to when we were all growing up. So
100%.
Yeah, it's pretty bananas. I'll put my stamp on it there.
Pretty bananas. Danielle Riendo.
That's good stuff. If I can sneak one question in, one last one. Who do you have in the fight tomorrow night?
Fight tomorrow night. It's very hard to say because I think I mean I don't. That's the thing. I want a spill in my stream, 15-minute spill why I can't pick someone because
I understand.
No, it's not because I don't dislike or like. I like all the fighters. I think as long as you're not out there committing crimes and you're good to your wife, you're good to your kids, I'll mess with you. I'm cool with you. But GSP coming up, being out for 4 years. I think he could beat Michael Bisping, but at the end of the day, I think Michael Bisping could beat GSP. He's a bigger dude. He has good stand-up. He defends a takedown. He should be able to get done. So there you go. Both those guys can win. But I can do the same thing for all the fights on that card.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious about Joanna. I want to see what happens with that. With Rose, like that is intense.
So I'll do the Rose one for you. So Joanna, she's a good stand-up fighter. She's good. She's quick. She's explosive. She has a jab. And she's going to stand up and bang and defend a takedown. Rose, what she needs to do to win that fight is close the distance, take her down. She absolutely has no ground game. She just defends. So if you get her off her back, you posture, you pass guard, she's going to turtle, you take her back, choke her out, drop down the armbar. You can do that. It's the game. I've just given her the game on how to do it.
Absolutely.
And then if Joanna comes back to me and goes, "Why would you say that?" I'm like, "Because you don't practice grappling. Like I mean, you
put in the work.
It's kind of a pretty huge area.
Yeah, so like for me, when I was in my upcoming amateur days, my coach's like, "Okay, you're grappling, but you need to go do a jiu-jitsu tournament. You need to compete with grapplers."
Yes.
Right. And I can probably say this. I go to her like, "Hey, have you ever done a jiu-jitsu tournament?" She'll be like, "No. Here's a world champion that's making millions of dollars and never stepped foot in a jiu-jitsu tournament."
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't like to mix mixed martial arts with video games because it brings out almost a
devil. I can feel it.
A devil in me where it's like, dude, you're making millions of dollars and people say you're the best pound fighter in the world. You can't even fucking do a flying armbar. you don't even know what that is. Like, like the submission I pulled out in my last fight, it was combination of wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and me using mixed martial arts to my advantage.
And pull them together.
Yes. Pull them together to where people don't do that. And that's what makes me mad. And that's why I think
Would you ever get into coaching? Would you ever like...
No, because everybody, it's almost like a boxer told me, he goes, you know what's wrong with boxing nowadays is that people want to get to Floyd Mayweather status. They always want on the money. People don't care about representing the USA, representing the sport and going to the Olympics and getting a gold medal. Because when you get that gold medal, you get $20,000. That's it. You become a professional boxer and forget all the roots and what made boxing great. They just want the money. And that's where like mixed martial arts, what got me into MMA wasn't the UFC. I didn't care about hurting somebody. I didn't care about that. Like, I'm not the type of guy who gets off of, I just hurt this man. Now he has to go home, pay $1,000 in medical bills, and his face is
all smashed up.
What got me into love of it was the person being able to work out, being healthy, and understanding how to manipulate and use
mechanics, the technicalities.
The technicality of it. And so that's what got me into it. And nowadays, I don't think you're going to see that with any up-and-comer. They just see the UFC and like, I want to be in the UFC.
You see the lights, the glitz,
the lights and glitz instead of the barrel of the dark and the dirtiness of like how to get better jiu-jitsu.
Who's a young fighter who you do see that passion for the sport, for the athletics in? Is there someone who you're like, follow this person?
I don't.
Okay.
I truly don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm serious, like everything's built up to like, I want to be a world champion. Like when I hear people like, I was born to be a world champion, I was like, no, you weren't. That is pathetic and sad.
Champions are made, dude, not born.
They're made, they're born. Like if please tell me guys, if you guys ever hear me say I was meant to be world champion. No, I was not. I was put on this earth to make a decision what I want to do in my life. One
you
is
hustled and you worked
I hustled and I worked at it, and now that I've got this and I've been this for 5 years, I'm ready. I'm not ready to move on to the next thing, but I'm already looking at the end of the tunnel to start my next career. To where boom, and then let's say 15 years on the road, I make the new game, and you're
we're back here.
We're back here, and you're like, Demetrious Johnson, please tell me about the game Mighty Souls. I mean, the game is fantastic from start to beginning.
How did you get here?
How did I get here? And I'm like,
the dialogue is so good.
Boom! I'm like, I was born to make this game.
Finally,
literally, when I was in the placenta, I was thinking about it.
Mighty Souls.
Mighty Souls.
You're like tiny little hands, just like Mighty Souls.
I saw the ultrasound of me. It was me doing this. So perfect. We'll see what happens.
I like that. Well, that is amazing. Thank you again so much for being here. Really, really appreciate it.
Had a blast.
Yeah.
Anytime you need Crowbar to back you up.
I appreciate that, Crowbar. I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. That was beautiful teamwork.
We had good teamwork. We did. We had some good moments. It's true.
It was gorgeous. Well, I'm going to do our little outro stuff. So, of course, always, friends, you can send questions to gaming@vice, not gaming advice.
Not gaming advice, gaming@vice.com.
With the subject question. Shoutouts, of course, to Bowen letting us use his track Miss You off the EP Pale Machine. Of course, you can find us on Twitter @Waypoint. Facebook is Waypoint Vice, and YouTube is Waypoint Vice. All of these videos are actually now going up because of Natalie. Shoutouts to Natalie. Shoutouts to Sophie. Thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Demetrious. Really appreciate it. I'm a huge fan, so
Thank you.
I was like a little nervous before coming into this today, but
you're a person awesome. Like, oh, you're a fucking nerd like me.
Yeah.
Okay,
I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. We can nerd out. It's gonna be awesome. It makes me very happy. So everybody, thank you so much for listening, and as always, be good and be good at it.
Peace.